Genestealers had recently landed upon a planet, and the first one to claim a victim was becoming sentient and forming a cult. Here's what it looked like. The shape of its hunt had changed, as indeed had the hunter itself. It understood this only dimly, but with every passing hour, its thoughts grew sharper as the simple decrees of survival unfurled into new possibilities, and the hunter became the seeker. Its primal imperative remained undeniable, but the instinct was spiraling into a higher, deeper vision that allowed it a freedom to think and plan that had been impossible before. Firstly, it recognized that its kindred hunters were not changing alongside it. Though they were bound by one purpose, the others remained creatures of pure instinct and always would. Now they followed where the seeker led, accepting his primacy without hesitation. The apex predator felt no pride or privilege in its ascendancy. It simply was what it was, as were they. From its thralls it learned much, drinking deep of their minds and seizing knowledge and concepts that would have been meaningless in its former forgotten existence. This new world was ripe with prey, but they were scattered across a broken ring of spiny mountains. The seeker's own territory was a vast mesa of basalt rock at the center of a ring. The thralls called this mesa the Slab, and their lone city, huddled in squalid senescence towards its northern edge, Hope. The surrounding mountains were encrusted with temples whose vaults ran deep into the rock. A single authority ruled them all from atop the narrowest peak. They called this authority the Sororitas. On the 5th night of its awakening, the predator climbed to an escarpment at the edge of its domain and gazed at the spire where the Sororitas laired. With an efficacy it neither understood nor questioned, the seeker cast its awareness across the gorge. Lurking at the corners of perception, it stalked as Corey's thoughts, snatching stray emotions and scratching at convictions. It found only a hard resolve that mirrored its own and understood that the Sororitas could only ever be an enemy. By the 6th day of its inner journey, the seeker's mind had crystallized into true sentience. With self-awareness came a grasp of possibilities beyond the here and now, followed by a torrent of abstract ideas and imaginings. At the forefront of this was the insistent vision of an ever-turning, slowly unwinding spiral. The seeker didn't understand the significance of the image until nightfall, when the truth sharpened into sudden clarity. The spiral represented the great imperative that drove its bloodline. Gripped by a cold fervor, the seeker sifted through the mental fragments it had stolen from the enemy during its incursion. Notions that had been nonsensical before now blazed with power, and from one moment to the next, the great imperative became holy. On the 7th night, the seeker bestowed this revelation upon its thralls, who carved the sacred spiral into reality upon wood and stone, and sometimes their own flesh. Their veneration elevated them from thralls to disciples, and in turn their worship exalted their master from seeker to prophet. By the 9th night, the prophet's path was clear. On the 19th night, the prophet assembled his congregation and pronounced judgment. Those that deny the divine imperative will be cleansed.